When Palantir CTO Shyam Sankar speaks, I tend to listen. Check this out.
Your reaction, please, to the president's statement earlier.
Well, it's great to be with you. I think this is really a conflict that's been brewing for the better part of 50 years. The Chinese are showing their hands. And it comes down to a fundamental philosophy they have as an outgrowth of the Warring States period. That's when Sun Tzu wrote Art of War, which is that there has to be only one hegemon. And so it's not enough for China to prosper. America must fall. And that this is the tension in the relationship. It's not how Americans view the world. We have a very positive sum view. No country has done more to alleviate poverty in China than America. But reciprocally, no country has done more to undermine American prosperity than China has.
And you have said time and time again that we are at some sort of undeclared Cold War. Do you see at the moment this ratcheting up of leverage ahead of, again, eventually some sort of meeting and some sort of deal? Or do you think rare earths are going to become increasingly hard for the Western nations to access?
I think it's going to spread from rare earths to many other things. We have to remember that Chinese make 50% of our generic drugs. What is it going to be like for the average American to choose between fighting for freedom and prosperity and watching their 5-year-old suffer, potentially die from a trivial ear infection? There's a whole swath of capabilities. We've so narrowly focused in the American mindset on the military dimension. Yes. But really, this is an industrial dimension. We have to remember that China has subsidized their industry to the tune of roughly 5% of GDP a year. So their businesses are not principally about competing in a fair and open market. Their businesses are about driving shutdown economics. How do I create an industrial base that's so strong that it drives the industrial bases of other countries out of business?
Your focus is and has been re-industrialization, but I think there'd be a lot of value in explaining the role Palantir's playing in that, be it, from a strictly defense point of view, but you also work, with the
more than
sector.
Half the business is commercial.
Right.
Industries from energy and mining and pharmaceuticals. We build every Chrysler and BMW and Airbus airframe and HD Hyundai ship. And one of the real lessons here is you have to lean into your asymmetric advantages. In the David versus Goliath battle, the Chinese absolutely have pound for pound more industrial capacity today. Well, what are our asymmetric advantages? We definitely have the best software as a nation in the world. We also have AI. And AI is not about AI. It's not about AGI. It's not about transhumanism. AI is about applying it towards all the other weaknesses that we have. How do you make the American worker 50 times more productive? The normative value here is to give the American worker superpowers so that you can reindustrialize, so that all the things that today we perceive being beyond the efficient frontier of being made in America can be done here. You can look at an example with Panasonic Energy and their battery factory in Sparks, Nevada. You have a 3-year apprenticeship journey to go from being someone you hire off the street, mostly in Reno, they're coming from casino, to managing this high-end, exquisite Japanese technology. Well, with AI, that's 3 months. So you can see how it drives prosperity, employment, retooling. It changes the very nature of our economy. And I reject the message that's coming up the street here from Silicon Valley, the ivory tower doomerism, that is just going to result in mass unemployment. I live on the factory floor. I live in the ICU beds. The nurses are the first people to adopt this. It gives them more time to be with the patient. Or the submarine industrial parts manufacturer, where they have more time making the parts, less time munging the data to do it. I see a renaissance of how AI is actually empowering the blue-collar worker to get more done.
There is this desire to run fast and break things once again a little bit in the world of defense and AI. And there has been reporting that perhaps some of the technology that's being built between where we sit right now, Anduril and Palantir, communications and GC2, was perhaps going too fast into the armed forces' hands, and there was questioning about its efficacy and its reliability. That has been pushed back. There has been a view that maybe that was old news that had been reported on by Reuters. What do you make of the reporting, and can you bring us up to speed with how diligent you are about the safety of the use of what you build?
Yeah, well, we're incredibly diligent about it. I think if anything, we need to move even faster still. It is old news and inaccurate reporting. There are no vulnerabilities in the software, but we need to lean into this idea. This is the fundamental lesson of Ukraine. It is not what your weapon system does today. It is how quickly it adapts to what it needs to do tomorrow. What we should be training with, practicing, fighting around is adaptability, not the zeroth derivative, but the first derivative. And the person with the best first derivative is going to win. That's John Boyd's OODA loop, encapsulated right there.
Shom, in a world where the relationship between the US and China deteriorates, the critics of Palantir say, this is great for Palantir. This is what you want. You will thrive in an environment where there is conflict, economic or otherwise. Is that a fair sort of criticism, or is it something you say, oh, we absolutely accept that?
The vast majority of our business will continue to be commercial. The commercial business is growing twice as fast as the government business. No one with children seeks conflict in this world. This is the world we live in. We lost deterrence in 2014. The Russians took Crimea. In 2015, the Chinese militarized the Spratly Islands. We don't intend to be useful idiots that are along for the ride who are not saying what's actually happening. You could have made the same arguments in the 30s around the Nazis. Oh, you're a warmonger. You're a warmonger. Well, turns out the Nazis were a real problem.
Palantir's commercial business, growing twice as fast as the government business, demonstrates that AI and data platforms built for defense have massive commercial applications across industries. Shyam states more than half of the business is commercial, 50 different industries from energy and mining and pharmaceuticals to Chrysler and BMW to Airbus and Hyundai shipping. So when asked about criticism that Palantir benefits from conflict, Shyam responds, the vast majority of our business will continue to be commercial. The commercial business is growing twice as fast as the government. This addresses one of the most common critiques of Palantir while revealing important insights about the company's growth trajectory and business model. Critiques often characterize Palantir as a defense contractor that benefits from geopolitical tensions and conflict, suggesting their success depends on military spending and warfare. The data contradicts this narrative comprehensively. The commercial business is now more than half of total revenue and growing way faster. This means Palantir's future increasingly depends on commercial success rather than government contracts. The diversity of commercial applications, 50 different industries, shows this isn't a narrow niche, but broad application across the economy. Each industry mentioned represents a different use case and value proposition. Energy companies use Palantir for optimizing production, managing complex operations, and integrating data across drilling, refining, and distribution. Mining companies use it for ore modeling, equipment optimization, and supply chain management. Pharmaceuticals use it for drug discovery, clinical trial management, and manufacturing optimization. The breadth validates Palantir's core capability, integrating disparate data sources to enable better decisions has universal application. The specific examples of manufacturing applications, Chrysler, BMW, Airbus, are particularly impressive because they represent some of the most complex, high-stakes manufacturing in the world. Automotive manufacturing involves thousands of parts, complex supply chains, and stringent quality requirements. Aircraft management is more of the same, with regulatory certification requirements and zero defect expectations. Shipbuilding combines both of these at massive scale. If Palantir's platform is used to build these products, it validates that their technology handles the most demanding manufacturing challenges, which suggests it can handle anything less complex as well. The fact that these are household names also matters for Palantir's commercial credibility. These aren't obscure companies willing to experiment with unproven technology. They're conservative, established manufacturers that only adopt technology after rigorous validation. Their use of Palantir provides third-party validation that the platform delivers real value in production environments with real stakes. The fact the growth rate for commercial versus government is twice as fast is a very key metric. Commercial is becoming the primary engine for growth for Palantir. If government business grows 20% annually and commercial grows 40% annually, commercial becomes an increasingly large portion of revenue over time. This growth differential also suggests Palantir has found product market fit in commercial markets, not just selling to a few early adopters, but achieving scaled adoption across industries. The reference to commercial growth also addresses that conflict benefits Palantir head on. Shyam acknowledges no one with children seeks conflict in this world and frames Palantir's position as reflecting reality rather than promoting conflict. Shyam is saying Palantir didn't create geopolitical tensions. They're responding to a world that exists, regardless of Palantir's business interests. The dual-use nature of Palantir's technology is also strategically advantageous from a business perspective. Technologies developed from defense applications often have demanding requirements around security, reliability, and performance that make them overqualified from commercial applications, creating competitive moats. Palantir's experience handling classic government data and supporting military operations means their platform has security and reliability features that commercial-only competitors can't match. When commercial customers, especially in regulated industries like pharmaceuticals or critical infrastructure, need those capabilities, Palantir has a natural advantage. The government customer base also provides stability and visibility, while commercial provides growth. Government contracts tend to be large, long-term, and relatively stable. They don't disappear in recessions and often expand during geopolitical tensions. This provides a revenue floor and cash flow certainty. Commercial business is more cyclical and competitive, but offers a larger total addressable market and faster growth potential. The combination creates an attractive business model with stable base revenue plus high growth upside. The expansion into 50 different industries also suggests Palantir has achieved significant progress on the productization and scaling challenges that historically limited their commercial business. Early criticism of Palantir focused on their reliance on customer deployments requiring significant professional services with limited scalability. The ability to now serve 50 industries suggests that they've developed more productized, repeatable solutions that can be deployed more effectively across diverse use cases. From an investment perspective, the commercial growth story is more valuable than the government story. Government business growth is constrained by defense budgets and political processes. Commercial business growth is constrained only by market size and execution, which are both much larger. If Palantir can maintain 40+ commercial growth while sustaining 20% government growth, the overall company's growth profile remains extremely attractive even as it becomes less dependent on defense spending. If you found this video of any value, why not consider hitting subscribe? Cheers.